Yo, what's brackin' YouTube? It's your boy, Panda, and today I'm at the Norgang YouTube channel, and I'm bringing you the next daily upload, which for today, it's a topic which I feel very close to, um, since I feel like it should have been talked about before, but I'm bringing this topic to light for the first time, it seems. Um, if you didn't know, Regroup hosted by CAAJBE, uh, it's basically like the tribe swap on Survivor, but a lot. That's the whole gimmick of the show. So today we're asking the question, how would each regroup contestant deal with a tribe swap on Survivor? So we're basically taking regroup and making it just once during the entire season instead of every episode. So we're going to be starting off this list with Toad. Now, I don't really speak to Toad all that often, but I think before the swap, he would be on the very bottom of his tribe. I think he would do something that would make his entire tribe hate him. It would probably be saying something insensitive or performing horribly in some of the first challenges, because if you didn't know, Toad was first out in regroup. I would be surprised if he made it to the swap, but if he did, I think that he definitely flipped to the other tribe at the first chance he got. Even if his original tribe started out in the majority, he knows that if someone wanted to, they could convince the rest of his new tribe to vote him out. So if Toad wants to stay in the game, he needs to be the first one to act so that he doesn't get eliminated in the very beginning of the swap. So next up is Hawk. Just like Toad, I don't really know Hawk all that well, but I feel like before the swap, he would have played a very strategic game. He would most likely align himself with the strongest people physically on his tribe, because in regroup, his team lost 2 times in a row, and that's why he was eliminated. So he would want to align himself with the strongest people on his tribe so that he doesn't have to be in the same situation again. After the swap, though, if he was in the majority, he would probably be one of the people dictating who goes home each tribal, and maybe even flipping on his tribe after he learns of their plan to blindside him. But if he ends up in a minority situation, I think he would be able to persuade one of the people in the majority to join his side. So overall, I think Hawk would do pretty all right once the swap hits. So after that, we have our next contestant, Stig. But personally, I don't think he would have gotten casted by CBS in the first place. But on the off chance he does, if he did make it to the swap, he would actually be medically evacuated after falling out of a tree. This because in regroup, he broke his spacebar, and that's what got him eliminated. So it only makes sense for him to be eliminated the same way on Survivor. So next up after that, we have Remote. I feel Remote would be on the top of his tribe going into the swap. Before the swap, he would be the biggest social threat in the game, honestly. He would be controlling all the votes. He would be liked by everyone because of his charisma and overall good guy personality. But now after the swap, I think Remote would most likely be in the minority because he got unlucky when the swap occurred. I'd say like him and 1 or 2 other people from his old tribe swapped to his new one. I think one of his old members would flip to the majority to try to get Remote out because of his strong social presence. Remote could try to be the first one to flip though, and possibly get on good terms with the tribe. However, this would most likely not happen because if Remote flipped first, he would basically sink his entire game that he was building up to that point. So Remote would most likely be an early boot after the swap. Next up though, we have 3 from the back. During the game before the tribe swap, I think 3 would be able to get in a few different alliances so that he has good relations with everyone on his tribe. He would know that's risky because if anybody found out he was aligned with everyone in camp, then he'd definitely be the next one to go home. But after the swap, I think 3'd flip to the other tribe no matter what. This is because with his risky strategy he played before the swap, with aligning everyone on his tribe, he would most likely be caught eventually. So he would avoid the backlash by flipping as well. But I think the most likely scenario that would happen is that he gets blindsided by everyone on his new tribe. This is mostly due to the fact that his old tribe mates would feel betrayed and try to convince the other people on the tribe to vote him out. This means that 3 would be voted out shortly after the swap occurs. Next up we have Darkstorm. So I don't really know him, but based on Darkstorm's performance in Regroup, I think that he would be a good challenge beast for his tribe. But even though he wins challenges for his tribe, I think he wouldn't be on the top, but actually on the bottom. He would be in the minority alliance of like 3 or 4 and doesn't have much footing within the upper ranks of the tribe. Even though he's a valuable asset with him being able to win challenges. Once he reaches the swap though, I think he'll be able to carry himself by picking up his game and strengthening his relationships with the people on his new tribe. If he was in the majority or the minority, I think with less people to worry about, he can make stronger alliances and make it through the next part of the game relatively easy. He would still be a physical threat and wouldn't really go to any tribal councils, but he wouldn't have to rely on it as much to keep his game alive. Our next regroup contestant would be Sam, Explo Sam. I think that Sam, Explo Sam, would be one of the people on the top of the tribe before the swap. Sam wouldn't be at the very top of his tribe, but most likely in a 2 or 3 person alliance with the person controlling all the votes. He would be able to strengthen these bonds through the first part of the game, where he could position himself nicely within the tribe. Once the tribes are swapped, I think that Sam will be able to learn from his alliance and be able to start controlling his new tribe, even if he was in the minority. I'm thinking of this like a teacher and student relationship, where Sam observes how his alliance member was able to control the tribe, and he's able to do the same thing without his other alliance members. Sam is probably one of the only people in Regroup that would make it to merge 100% of the time in any game of Survivor. So Sam, if you're watching this, then you're guaranteed to make it to merge if you apply for Survivor. So you should apply as soon as possible, and I'll be waiting for $500,000 as soon as you win. So next up on our list, we have Chris. So when I think about Chris's gameplay and how he'd do before the swap, I think that he'd be in all the major alliances, but be on the bottom of every one. Chris would join the big alliances so that he wouldn't have to worry about possibly being on the wrong side of the votes, but he wouldn't really do much to try to better his position within those alliances. After he gets swapped, I'm sad to say, but I think that Chris would try to do the same thing he did in the pre-swap phase of the game. He would try to side with the tribe with majority, and whether he has to flip to do that or not does not matter. He'll keep on trying to float on the backs of the major alliances instead of trying to put his name out there. With this strategy, I think he'll most likely make it to merge, but if his new tribe loses every challenge, I think he's being voted out right before it. So next up we have our 4th placer, Luke. So now I don't really know Luke all that well, so I asked fellow regroup contestant Jojo to give me some help here. So Jojo feels that Luke would be a huge challenge threat before the swap. With Luke winning all of the challenges for his tribe, he doesn't have to deal with the pressures of being too strategic in this part of the game. Personally, I think that Luke would have some connections, but none deep enough that someone would want a major commitment with him later in the game. So Jojo then said after the swap, even if Luke were in the minority on his tribe, he would most likely still dominate during the challenges, meaning he wouldn't have to align with the other tribe after the swap. In a situation where he doesn't win a challenge for his tribe, I think he would be blindsided close to the beginning of the merge and miss out on the coveted merge feast. So after help with the last one, now we have Jojo. So during the pre-swap, I think Jojo would be able to control the tribe through manipulation and being a strategic mastermind. Joe just seems like he would create a final two alliance with someone and then use that person's trust to get them to carry out his plans. He would also try to create relationships with people close to the bottom of the tribe, so that he knows if a flip in the tribe dynamic ever happened, he wouldn't be the first one out. After the swap, if he were in the minority, I think he would be able to recognize the dynamic of the other tribe and convince the person on the bottom to flip to his side. This will put a large target on his back after people recognize how strategic he is in the game, and if given the chance, I think his old tribe would blindside him to get a large threat out of the game. Now, if he was swapped into the majority, he would be able to keep his original tribe loyal and prevent any of them from flipping, because if any of them thought they were on the bottom, his work to build his relationships with them earlier would make them not want to go against him. Him and his old tribe would be able to sweep the minority on his new tribe, and he would most likely make it to merge. So next up we have is Happy, and from what I know of Happy, I think before the swap, he would make strong connections with one or two other people to create a strong and loyal alliance. It would most likely be a small alliance within a larger one, so that Happy doesn't have to worry about possibly being blindsided from within the big alliance. Him and his strong alliance would most likely be the ones making the moves from within the game because they have the numbers to do it. After the swap, if he was swapped with any of his alliance members, no matter what position he was in, he would most likely be able to go through to merge with how he and his other alliance members would be able to control the rest of the tribe. If in the unlucky situation where Happy doesn't end up on a tribe with one of his alliance members, he would most likely be blindsided by the rest of the people he got swapped with, because he only focused on strengthening those core relationships with his main alliance. He would probably go out in the first or second tribal council. So the last person on our list is Panda. I think before the swap, Panda would either be in the middle of his tribe or on the very bottom. He would have most likely thought he was going to be a target early game and went idol hunting. This would obviously make the tribe not trust him all too much. There's the possibility that he's able to establish some small connections throughout the tribe, but I think he lost his ability to work close to the top. The swap would probably help his game if he were swapped into a minority or a majority. If he was in a majority, depending on the player difference, he would most likely try to flip to help out the minority team to gain their trust. This would throw chaos into the game, and he would think it'd be pretty funny to the rest of his old tribe. However, if he was in the minority from the start, he would also be the first one to flip because he wouldn't be able to trust his old tribe to keep him around for long, meaning the faster he gains the other tribe's trust, the faster he can make it to merge. So that's how every regroup contestant would deal with a tribe swap on Survivor. If you disagree or have other opinions on any of the people on this list, please put them down in the comment section below. I won't look at them, but someone else might. And also recommend ideas for future videos in the future for future people to take care of. It might be me, might not be. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and like and stuff. Thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.